Hi team. In this video, we are going to walk through a child sponsorship demo in CommCare and understand how simple it really is to create this entire workflow within the platform. I'm going to anchor this around the wiki and how we've explained sponsorship workflows in our documentation on the help site. The first thing that we're talking about is identifying and enrolling children into the system. Now, in order for that to happen, we are going to use the applications tab within our project space. As you can see here, I'm on a project space called sponsorship demo. And within that project space, I have created an application called child sponsorship app for countries. Now, how exactly are we able to identify and enroll children? We can do this simply by using case management within CommCare. As you can see here, I'm using a simple case management workflow where all I'm telling CommCare is that I would like to track a sponsored entity. This is the child that I'm tracking over a period of time. In order for that tracking to happen, I would first like to register that child into the system. So we've got a registration form. Within that registration form, we have all of these different key indicators that we're filling out. As you can see, consent is a big part of any sponsorship workflows. And here, as you'll see, it's very easy to build out consent workflows within CommCare. So not only can you build out a consent workflow where you have label text like this, which talks about the consent, but you can also record consent in different media formats. So this could be an audio capture, it could be a video capture. You can always take images as well. So you can do signature captures, so on and so forth. And you can build in all the logic and validation that might be needed in order for this to work successfully. So for example, if you build out a consent component at the beginning of your form and consent is not provided, CommCare would not allow you to move forward with the interview questions. And all of this would be built in to the actual logic and validation. So as you can see here, my interview questions have a display condition that says, do you consent should be equal to yes in order for this to show up. This is a very simple example, but you can create all sorts of robust logic and calculations within your CommCare application. Now, while I'm doing all of this and collecting information through these forms, like I have this registration form, I also have a follow-up or an update form. So if I want to go back and do follow-up visits for the child or collect any data at a later point in time, I can also leverage the update form and be able to fill out information with that form as well. Now, while all of this information is being filled out, for case management to work, we need to create case properties within the system, which are essentially saving all of these indicators as properties. So you can see on the screen, I've created this entire mapping for all the individual questions within my forms and what they should be saved as in terms of case properties. So every time these forms are filled out, these case properties get updated for that particular child. So if I had 100 children, I would have case properties for all of those 100 children holding values for all of these indicators. Now, once we understand the basic structure of case management, let's try and understand how robust CommCare really is and how it can be helpful to create not just a complex or a solution for sponsorship, but also a scalable solution for sponsorship. So here I am using this particular project space as what we call an upstream space. So think of it like an HQ or a region where you're creating template applications or a library of applications, which you can then deploy, let's say, to your country offices, for example. Now, you can create a sponsorship application just the way I've created this one here and be able to push it downstream to your country offices. You can use what we call enterprise release management as a core enterprise feature of CommCare, which allows you to easily create applications in an upstream space along with a lot of other content as well, which with just a few clicks, you can then push downstream to country spaces. So here, just for context, is my country space project space. This is a different project space. And then I have another one, which is country space 2. So I have country space 1 and 2, which I'm treating as downstream spaces. And all I'm trying to do is creating an application over here in my upstream space using enterprise release management. I'm going to take all of this by clicking on linked project spaces here. I'm going to go to push content and then tell CommCare that I want all of this information from this list over here to go to my country spaces. As soon as I click on push content, when I navigate to my country spaces, I will see everything that I've created in this upstream space show up over there. Let's see what that experience would look like. Now here, after I've created my sponsorship application in my upstream space, I want to deploy it at the country level. So by using enterprise release management, I was able to easily deploy it. My first country, just as an example, is Bangladesh. And here you'll notice that while I have access to the application summary page from where I can actually deploy this application onto mobile devices for my field team on the ground, I can't actually edit the contents of this application. And that's by design. So in order to have structured applications that can easily be deployed across different geographies, which are collecting the same set of data, these applications would remain locked for editing at the country level so that all the data is collected in a structured manner and data consumption becomes that much easier. Now, what is that experience of collecting all of this information? So we've looked at how you can actually create workflows within CommCare to set up these applications. But what would it actually look like for that person in the field to be able to collect this data? So here I'm using the application preview, which is a close experience to what it would look like on an actual mobile device once this application has been deployed. Now, when I sign in as a user, I get access to all the different modules that have been designed. And within this, I can actually go in and look at all of this information. So this is just a sample flow of what it might look like on a mobile device. So I can fill in information, and once it's been done, I can submit it back into the system. Now, once data has been collected for all of these different entities that we're tracking, in this particular case, we are tracking children for a sponsorship program, we can then navigate to the reports and the data tab within our project space to look at all of this information in different ways, whether it's for reporting purposes, analyses, or even exporting out of the system. There's all these different options that we have. Now, I've used the in-product reporting within CommCare to create some sample reports to help you understand what this looks like. So here's a report that I created, which lets me at a glance see a summary of children that have been registered along with a pie chart. So as you can see here, I can see the regions, I can see the number of children that have been registered, I can see their gender split, and I can also see their birth registration split. So how many of these children actually had their births registered versus the ones that did not. This is just a sample report. You can create many kinds of different reports within CommCare, just like this one. Now, in the same vein, let's say that I want to go in and see something specific. CommCare has reports like the Case List Explorer, as you can see over here, that I've used to run some complex calculations. So I'm saying that I want to see only that subset of data where the child's date of birth is less than 2017, and for health issues that we're tracking for children, toothache specifically as a particular health issue should show up. So I've been able to set up this very simple report, which is telling me of all the 100 plus children that have been registered within this space, for example, there are 9 who fulfill that criteria. And I can then easily at a glance see which regions they belong to, which communities they belong to. And because these reports are drilled down, I can actually click on individual cases and be able to then see all the details that are relevant for that particular case. So I can see all of their case properties. I've used features like the data dictionary within CommCare to define different groupings, to put in labels for all the case properties so that it's easy to understand and consume all of this information. So at a glance now, I'm equipped with all the knowledge that I need for doing any meaningful analysis for data that's been collected within CommCare. Similarly, I can actually go in and look at an audit trail for information that has been captured within the system. So this, for example, is showing me exactly when my mobile user called Ashik Hassan was able to register this child into the system. This was the actual form that was filled out, and all of these details were captured. I can also clean up form information or even case properties within CommCare with the requisite user permissions that can be set up under the Users tab in CommCare. And similarly, I can also see attachments for media. So here, for example, I can see these are the images that were captured, including their guardian signature, a family picture, as well as their own photograph of the child. So like this, I have access to all of this information. I can cycle through individual records and analyze one by one. I can look at reports that I just showed you, for example, to look at data at a glance. I can also create reports like the one that we looked at previously to set up bar graphs and pie charts, even mapping reports if needed. All of this within the CommCare ecosystem. Now, once we've been able to set things up like this and we've been able to analyze all the data that's been captured, there's a lot of these other reports that allow us to do similar things. We can track usage of our application and create other reports right from here. We can then look at the different options available for data consumption. So on the data tab, we have the ability to run simple exports, which would allow us to export all of this information, whether it's individual form submissions or case data, where all the case properties are in different columns and each row of that Excel is an individual child that's been tracked. We have options to create all sorts of exports that we might need. Along with that, as you can see here, we also have integrations with tools like Excel, Power BI, and Tableau. These are all productized integrations, which means that if I clicked on the Power BI and Tableau integration link, all CommCare is asking me to do is set up an OData feed, which is a widely known format that works really well with Power BI. So we are packaging up all of our data in this particular format. And all I've done is just clicked a few times to create this feed. And once I've been able to create this feed, I can copy it and paste it into my Power BI instance. Now, this is a really powerful integration because I can get all of my data from CommCare into a robust BI tool like Power BI and then be able to generate dashboards and reports like this one, for example. So as you can see over here, I have a report which is showing me a registry of children. So you'll see that I've got their case IDs, their names, and then all of their image data that was captured within CommCare to show up in Power BI. And I've got filters here. I can use these slicers to actually look at data for specific regions based on my requirement. And then similarly, I can also create dashboards like this one. So you can see that we've got slicers here at the bottom again to help us sift through this data. Let's say right now, I'm not interested in looking at Bangladesh, but I want to look at Guatemala. I can actually go in and make that selection. So you'll see that the numbers automatically change now for me within that dashboard. Of course, there's a lot more that can be done within the Power BI ecosystem. all we are really trying to highlight is the integration capabilities that CommCare offers. Now, this is just one example. You can do integrations with tools like Salesforce, for example, with the help of middleware like Power Automate. There's a lot of documentation that's available within the platform that talks through all of these integrations. So, in a nutshell, we've been able to showcase how you can set up a workflow to identify and enroll entities like children for a sponsorship program. The same logic can be applied to create other modules, let's say to register sponsors, perhaps if you're trying to track sponsors along with children, and you can create linkages between these entities as well with the help of case management and CommCare. And then you can use all the different features that CommCare offers to analyze your data, to export your data, to integrate your data with other tools. You can easily create that entire robust data pipeline and then connect data from CommCare to BI solutions like Power BI or to CRMs like Salesforce, for example. All the requisite documentation is available on our help site. In case you have any questions regarding this, please feel free to reach out to our team and we should be able to help you with answers. I hope this was helpful. Thank you.